When my grandfather died, for the first time after the funeral, we went to his cemetery quite often, and always on the way we came across one strange tombstone. Not even that strange, but rather original. Not granite, not metal, but upright and wooden frame with closed glass. Behind it was a large photo portrait of a young beautiful girl. Her name, according to the inscription, was Elia Hills. Died at the age of 18. I never knew her, but always paid attention to her grave because of the originality of the monument. Then I was drafted into the army. And that's where it started. The first morning in quarantine, rise, formation, exercise. It was awfully hard in the gymnasium, not used to it. I survived till lunch. At lunch we were walking in formation, and 4 girls from the communications department were walking towards us. Beautiful, even their uniforms didn't spoil their beauty. But the prettiest was her, Elia Hills. No, nonsense, of course, but that beauty really looked like the late Elia, like 2 drops of water. And there was something else that made me startle and lower my eyes. If the 3 girls were looking at our guard with interest, she was looking at me and smiling. Then I thought that it was just a play of my imagination, but all sorts of tricks and subconsciousness on the background of unusual physical exertion. But the next day the same thing happened again. We stand in formation, 4 girls, and one of them looks at me and smiles enigmatically. A couple of days later, going to the dining hall turned into a real torture for me. Now, for some reason, I was sure that it was the same Elia Hills who had died a few years ago. I looked away from her, but I could still feel her eyes on me. One day we were standing in the smoking room before formation, and then I saw her again. She was standing right next to me, about 10 meters away, and she was still looking at me, smiling her mysterious smile. And if all the boys, as if on command, turned their heads in her direction, I turned away. I couldn't stand that seemingly completely innocent look, which gave me a grave terror in the truest sense. To go near her I could not approach her. Why? To say, "I know you died a long time ago," disappear from my life? That would be a straight shot to a mental hospital. That's where she ended up, but more on that later. Then I tried to find out something about this girl. It was quite clear that she is not a ghost, and everyone sees her, communicates with her. At least I'm not hallucinating, though I wasn't happy about that at all. I'd rather she was exactly a hallucination, not reality. Once on occasion I asked our sergeant about her. His answer shocked me. "Ta Elia Hills, don't even think about it. Fighter, you have no chance here. Officers have been hitting on her, and she blew them all off. Probably waiting for the one and only." I was on the verge of madness, but that was just the beginning. And then came that joyful day when we turned from spirits into soldiers and took the oath. For everyone it was a celebration, for me it was agony. I knew I would see her again, and I was not mistaken. The commander called my name, and I, stamping my step, approached him, feeling her gaze on my back. I took the folder with the text of the oath in my hand, turned to face the formation and saw her smiling with only one lip, whispering to me, "Let's be brave." Where does courage come from? The letters blur in front of my eyes. My knees are shaking, I can barely stand on my feet. I memorized the words of the oath and was barely back in the ranks. I couldn't see her from here, but I knew she was watching me. My first guard duty was one I'll remember for a long time. It was the first time she spoke to me. At about 3 in the morning, I heard footsteps on the concrete slabs. It was not the heavy sound of army bricks. The clatter of women's heels gave me an animal terror. I turned at the sound and for some reason with trembling hands took the automatic rifle off my shoulder. How could you kill a man who was already dead? She didn't come too close, which was probably the only reason I didn't start shooting or lose consciousness, as I had then, near the smoking room. She stopped about 10 meters away. And then I heard her voice, a nice voice. If it weren't for one thing, would have known for sure that she was dead. Put the machine gun down, you know me, you can't kill me already, God, it still reminds me of that. Meanwhile, she calmly continued, you and I already know each other. I saw the way you looked at me in the cemetery. I barely wheezed out, no, I wasn't looking at you, I was looking at the monument on your grave. Then my strength finally left me and I ran away from her, running and listening to the sap of her heels and her voice behind me. Don't leave me, don't leave me. I don't know how many laps I did around the equipment boxes like that, but when my shift came in, I was still running. The driver looked at me strangely. Were you asleep? Did you have a bad dream? I clumsily lied. I saw a hare at home. I wanted to chase it. This way of hunting hares surprised the guys very much, and I was immediately given the cheerful nickname, Hare. Words, but I was not fun at all. All that scared me was her, dead Elia Hills. Every night when I was on guard duty, she came to me, and every time I ran away from her. But one day I couldn't take it anymore. She showed up again and tried to come closer than usual. I pulled my automatic off my shoulder, lowered the safety, cocked the bolt, and fired the entire magazine at her. Damn it, I saw the bullets go through her, but it didn't do her any harm. No blood, no holes in her clothes. I was quietly terrified and passed out. And I woke up in the sanitary unit from the pungent smell of ammonia. The foreman looked at me sadly. What, soldier, the roof has gone. But nothing, in the morning we'll go to put it back in its place. That's how I ended up in the psychiatric ward of a military hospital. Now I see with horror in my bunk and do not understand what is going on. Very soon they want to discharge me and send me home, but I'm afraid to go home. I'm afraid, because in my town there's a cemetery with the same grave of Elia Hills. And I still don't know what she wants from me, what she wants from me.